Hello, my name is Typhoon, and in this lecture, we're going to create our first application. Android is most widely used mobile phone operating system in the world, with over 70% of the global market share. Here, this presents a great opportunities to contribute and make an impact by learning Android and building applications that have a global reach. For a developer who is new to Android, there may be uses you must contend with in order to get started learning and becoming productive. This course will address these uses. After learning the tooling and development environment, you will explore fundamental practices to build Android application. We will cover a wide range of real-world development challenges faced by developers and explore various techniques to overcome them. In this section, you will learn how to create a basic Android project and add features to it. You will be introduced to the comprehensive development environment of Android Studio and learn about the core ideas of the software to enable you to work productively. And Android Studio provides all the tooling for the application development, but not the knowledge. So the first lecture will guide you through using the software effectively to build an application and configure the most common areas of Android project. Let's get started by creating an Android project with Android Studio. In order to be productive in terms of building Android application, it's essential to become confident with Android Studio. So this is the official integrated development IDE, integrated development environment for Android development, built in JetBrains, IntelliJ IDEA IDE, and developed by the Android Studio team at Google. So you will be using it throughout this course to create application and progressively add more advanced features. So the development of Android Studio has been followed the development of IntelliJ IDEA. The fundamental features of IDE are represent the course and will enable to optimize your code with suggestions, shortcuts, and standard refactoring. The programming language you'll be using throughout this course to create Android applications in Kotlin, since the Google Input-Output, in the Google Developer Conference. This has been Google's preferred language for Android application development. What really sets Android Studio apart from the other development environment is that the Kotlin was created by JetBrains. So the company that created IntelliJ IDEA, the software Android Studio is built on, you can therefore benefit from the established and evolving first-class support for Kotlin. Kotlin was created to address some of the shortcomings of Java in terms of verbosity, handling null types, and adding more functional programming techniques, amongst the many other uses. As Kotlin is the preferred language for Android development since 2017, taking over from Java, you will be using in this course. So let's get in grips, and familiarizing yourself with Android Studio will enable you to feel confident working on and building applications here. So let's get started by creating our first project. So this is the starting point of creating a project structure your application will be built upon. The template-driven approach will enable you to create a basic project in a short time frame while setting up the building logs you can use to develop your application. So to complete this exercise, click on open the Android Studio, and while opening you will see a window asking whether you want to create a new project or open the existed project. Here, as you can see here, this is our recent project. This is our options that tells us customize plugins, learns, projects, and we can also, as you can see, we have several buttons here: new project, open, and get from VCS. So Android Studio will appear like that. So now click on the new project, and as you can see here, there's several templates for creating our project here. So now you will enter simple Wizard driver flow, which greatly simplifies the creation of your Android project. So this screen will see has a large number of options for the initial setup you'd like your application to have. So welcome to your first interaction Android development ecosystem. The world displayed is the most project types as activity. So in Android, activity is a page or screen. So the options you can choose from on the preceding screen all create this initial screen differently. The descriptions describe how the first screen of the application will look here. You can also create a VR, Android TV, and automotive like this here. So, and actually, we will select the empty activity for now and click on the next. And here, the project configuration screen shows us. So, this is your application. So, this here, the name similar to the name of your Android projects. This name will appear as the default name of your Android application when it's installed on a phone and visible on Google Play. So you can replace the name field to your own or set it now to application you are going to create. We also have the package name. This package name uses the standard reverse domain pattern for creating a name, and it will be used as an address identifier for source code and the assets in your application. It is best to make this name as clear and descriptive and as closely aligned with the purpose of application as possible. Therefore, it's probably best to change this use to one of more subdomains here. For example, as you can see, com, the phone, and my application. This is my subdomain, and this type of domain naming here. And we also have the save. We also discussed the package name, and we also have the save location. This is the local folder. Obviously, this is the local folder on your machine where the application will be initially stored. So this can be changed in future. So you can probably keep the default or edit to something different, such as users, auxiliary, Android, and project. So this is the default location will vary with operating system you are using. And we also have the language. So the language is, of course, by default is Kotlin. So Kotlin, this is the Google's preferred language for Android application development. But if you're familiar with Java, you can also select Java, but it's not preferred anymore. And we also have the minimum SDK. So depending on which version of Android Studio you download, the default might be the same as displayed here. So, or a different version. So keep this the same. So most Android's new features are made backwards compatible. So your application will run fine on the mass majority of older devices. However, if you do want to target newer devices, you should consider raising the minimum API level. So, and also there is a link to choose, help me choose link. So you can also click the dialog that explains the feature that you have access to with the Vive development on different versions of Android and the current percentage of device worldwide running each Android version. And here we also have the checkbox, use legacy Android support libraries. So leave this unchecked, and as you can see, we also can check this because the option disabled when minimum SDK set to API level 29 or higher. And as you can see, if we make it 27, we can also use the legacy Android support libraries, but these are deprecated and you shouldn't use this anymore. But you can use this, but it's not preferred here. So leave this unchecked. You will be using Android X libraries, which are the replacement for support libraries that were designed to make features on newer versions of Android backwards compatible with older versions. But it proves much more than this. So it also contains newer Android components called Jetpack, which, as the name suggests, boosts your Android development and provide a host of rich features you will want to use in your application, so thereby simplifying the common operators. So once you finished all these details, select finish, and your project will be built, and you will be then represented with next screenshot that we will discuss in next lectures. Once you have finished and filled in all these details, select finish, and your project will be built, and you will be presented with the following screen. Let's click finish now, and I want to show you how this compiling process works here. Here, as you can see, our Gradle is building here. You can see here. Gradle is building, configuring, and as you can see, there's a notifying us that Gradle project sync in process, and signs we are almost done the Gradle, and yeah, our program is compiled and deployed for Gradle. And here in this exercise, you have gone through the steps to create your first application using Android Studio. So this has been the template-driven approach that has shown you the core options you need to configure your application. And here now we're gonna learn how to set up the virtual device and your Android application. So firstly, as part of installing Android Studio, you have downloaded and installed the latest Android software development kit components. So these include a base emulator, which you will configure to create a virtual device to run Android applications on. So the benefit is that you can make changes and quickly see them on your desktop whilst deploying your application. Although the virtual devices do not have all the features of a real device, the feedback cycle is often quicker than going through the steps of connecting a real device. Although you should ensure that your applications run as expected and different devices, you can standardize it by targeting a specific device by downloading an emulator skin, even if you don't have the real device and if it's not a requirement of your project. So here you're gonna press on our device here and click on device manager. So we will set the device manager here by clicking device, and here create a device here. So here we have shown the several options here. We can also select phone, tablet, Wear OS, and desktop here. So for example, after selecting our device name, you should, for example, in this case, I'm gonna select the Pixel 6 Pro and click on next here. So here, as you can see, we are going to choose the Pixel 6. As you can see here, APS Rebel 33, and the real non-virtual Pixel range of devices are developed by the Google and have access to the most up-to-date versions of to the Android platform. So once selected here, we have several options here. The R name means that this is Android 11, as you can see here. Actually, we can make bigger. So as you can see here, our R name is displayed the initial code relays for Android 11, S for Android 12, the Android SV2 for Android 12L, and Tiramisu for the latest Android version of Android 13. And after selecting Android 13 or whatever you want to develop the system on, and here we have also logos of our devices. In this case, for example, Oreo, R Pi, Q, R, S, SV2, and Tiramisu. We already have downloaded Tiramisu, but you can also download the several Android versions from it, by accepting and click on next. And as you can see here, Android operating system for our Android emulator is downloading now. So each of these sites is probably approximately 1 GB, and here I'm gonna select the RAM, so here, and click on next. Here we will name our Android virtual device. And we can also use portrait or landscape mode, but we can also choose it after initializing and running our device, and we can also enable or disable the device frame. And as you can see, there's a description here: enable frame around the Android emulator windows that mimics the look of a real Android device. So here, click on finish after selecting options, and here, as you can see here, we have Pixel 6 API 33, and by pressing this play button, you can start your Android device. And here, as you can see here, there's starting Android device in our bottom toolbar. And here, make it disappear like that. And this is our Pixel 6 Pro API 33. And it might take some time if you are first starting your Android application, but believe me, in next starts, it won't take so much time here. But in this case, it just took 10 or 15 seconds here. Our Android virtual device is booting up. Here. Here now we created our Android device. Actually, let's make the settings here. There's a several actually this can like behave like the real Android device. So as you can see, we can also create a multiple users. We can also reach the Google services here. As you can see, we have and our system is updating now. We can also use the virtual SD card, serial console. We can also use the camera here. So this is the screen capture here. You can also record the screen of it. Bitrate 4 MB per second, resolution 100%, or let's make it 60%. And we can also show the tabs. We can also start the recording here. And the system is recording now, and let's stop the recording. And here we can also save it from WebM file format. You can also convert to MP4. And yeah, in this case, I'm not gonna save it for now. And here I'm not gonna save it for now. And here we can also open our camera, but in this case, yeah, this is our camera. Here, next. We can also give it an access. Here, as you can see here, we have just explanatory. Here we can take photos of it. You can see here. Focus. Yes. So now that you have created your Android virtual device and it's running, you can go back into the Android Studio to run your Android application here. So in order to run, as you remember, we just created our empty project and nothing. We haven't changed anything or any code on it, and we will now create Android device. Actually, let's make our text bigger and name it here. The text here of it, Oxel lecturer, Oxel Typhoon here, and make the text bigger. File or size. Make it 34. And here let's start our application. And as you can see here, our Gradle build is running here. Here our Gradle is built now, and as you can see here, this is our empty project. So in this exercise, you have gone through the steps to create a virtual device and run that application you created on it. So Android Virtual Device Manager, which you have used to do this, enables you to create a device or range of devices you would like to target your application for. Running application on the virtual device allows a quick feedback cycle to verify how a new feature development behaves and that it displays by the way that you expect it to it. Here, as you can see, we updated our text and we write the Oxalate Typhoon here, and you can also make the play with it. And as you can, we can go settings. You have location, privacy, security, accessibility. We can also change the wallpapers of it. Now let's change the wallpapers from alive, and here this is our wallpaper. We can also set the home screen here. Let's go to photos here, and as you can see, we have photos in it.